Welcome to Lifesaving Labs. This is population management. This is our second session of this series. Throughout this series, we're exploring a lot of different topics, pathway planning, daily population rounds, and even a bit on length of stay. And this is all led by our incredible shelter medicine team here at Best Friends Animal Society. So today we're going to be featuring a presentation that's all around pathway planning and mapping animal flow. And it's going to be presented by Dr. Becca. Before I hand it over to her, though, just a few housekeeping notes for everyone. Today's session will be recorded. It's going to be uploaded to our network partner YouTube channel. You'll also receive an email post-session that has a link to the recording as well. We're going to keep everyone muted for this session, but we encourage that you make comments in the chat. We'll have a great discussion section of this session, and you can put any of your inquiries in chat. You can also ask any questions. We love questions. You can add those at the bottom on the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. We most likely will have time for those. If we don't, we will answer your questions via email or even at our last session for the panel. So again, questions and chat, feel free. And with that, I am going to go ahead and pass it over to Dr. Becca. So I'll stop sharing mine and I'll pass the baton.
All right, let's hope we don't have the same problem as last week, right?
That's okay. If we do, we'll figure it out like we did last week.
Oh yeah, they are like serious. Like I was doing a presentation, I was making joke. Yeah, I can do surgery, but I cannot figure it out Zoom. So yeah, that's really like. So are you able to see my screen, or are you seeing
You
my?
did it perfectly.
Oh,
There's no nudge.
see,
Look at
like
that.
305 days later, here I am. I got it, people. Oof. Now I'm feeling
Excellent.
confident about this. So, for if you don't know me yet, if you weren't here last week, I'm Dr. Becca Borna. I'm a veterinarian with the National Shelter Medicine Team, and we're going to continue talking about pathway planning, which we all in the we do this so much with shelters that we work with. And a lot of people, but this is not medical. Oh, yes, it is. Everything like pathway planning, moving animals through the system. If they are not moving fast enough, that's when they get sick. And we are all about preventing them from get sick. So we just want them moving through the system. So the faster they move, the better it is for us, the better it is for them, right? So that's why we are so passionate about this. The other thing I'm going to talk about is we do for the attendees of this for these sessions, we are offering a working group. So it's really so we can talk more about it, like pathway planning and rounds, which is coming next with Dr. Aaron, is definitely a very important it's very important, but it's not that simple, right? Like to implement, or especially pathway that sometimes can get so difficult or so complicated for us to implement. So we are trying to create a system, as we are giving you guys an overview here, you are welcome to request, to show that you are interested in a working group, and we would say we're going to set up that. So just feel free to follow that QR code. And please, if you don't do that, I'm going to be really sad at the end of this and no one showing up, and then Erica's going to be mad with you. So please, with me, not with you. She gets mad with me. With you, she's nice. She's not that nice with me. I'm joking. I'm always joking. For the ones that were here next week already know that that's me. I cannot control my brain on making jokes. So today we are gonna have a more dynamic session, right? Like we do, even though you guys gonna be muted, but really ask you guys to be entering information on the chat. Just share. This is again, pathway planning is a dynamic thing, and to create it, we need to have more and more information. So let's share. So and I always say that, and I probably didn't say that at last time, or if I did, I already forgot. But I always want us to remind us also to be kind with ourselves, to be kind with the other people that are attending. We share examples. We all have examples of things that we've done in the past that we don't do any longer, things that we learned, but we are all learning. And shelter medicine is changing every minute, every day. It's hard to keep up with it, especially for you guys that are on boots on the ground having the hard work done, right? So this is why we are here. We can share with you. We are here to make sure that we keep ourselves updated so we can share with you the most amount of information possible to help you save more lives. And really, like, one thing that I tell, I used to scruff cats, right? Like, I used to think that that was the best thing in the world. You grab here, you stretch them, you do whatever you want, and they let you do it. Yeah, they don't let you do it. They are so poor babies, stressed when you're scruffing them. It's such a terrible experience for them that they are like really just they have no option, right? So let's remember like to and I say that just because and I love to give examples of all of the things that I've done in the past, but when I look back, sometimes I think, oh my God, poor kiddies, right? I torture some of them and but it's not the goal is not that. The goal is just like I've learned that was the best thing, that was best practice at some point. It's no longer that. And we just like we need to learn new strategies, new things. So here's some important things that we can do. While we're thinking about pathway planning and all of that, there are some things that we can do from day one. Some we've talked last week, right? Waive adoption fees, giveaways with adoption, right? A bag of food, like grooming opportunity, like whatever. Like sometimes you have vet clinics that will give you like the initial consult so they can have those clients. What can you get out there, right? Make sure we are using our social media correctly, like social media highlights. Just, highlight those animals that we need to get adopted out there. Prioritize foster care. What are the animals that should be in foster care, like especially for treatment? So your staff is not dealing with that extra care, right? You can have foster care. Those people are 24 hours those dogs in foster care or cats, sometimes they get 24 hours attention, which they don't get in the shelter, right? They get a few minutes. Schedule surgery. We talk about that by reducing length of stay, right? Can we schedule the surgery as soon as they come in to the day that they're going to be out of that stray hold? And behavior enrichment plans, right? We need to identify barriers to develop and address some of the behavior concerns, use medication for it, prioritize enrichment. Enrichment, it's not optional anymore, right? Part of humane care includes enrichment. And I know that some of you don't know how hard it is. Well, I do know how hard it is. And I'm not saying you need to do perfect. We've been there. We are in the boots on the ground with shelters all the time trying to help implement. We do know how hard it is. But there are strategies. There are ways to try as much as possible to provide enrichment so the dogs and cats are not staring the walls and getting bored. And then they start having all of those clinical signs, FAS, kennel stress, right? So as we said last week, and I'm going to keep highlighting that, every single matters, every single day matters. And it's not only about days, right? Sometimes it's a second. If I can cut a second today, in every day for every single animal I have, that may make a huge dent. So if thinking about cutting one day in length of stay is too much, just think about a second. Can I decrease 1 second, 10 seconds, 5 minutes, right? And here it's something that we're going to talk about. It's a little about that reflection, about that exercise or the activity we ask you guys to do at home. We're not going to talk about all of that because we're going to address that as we are getting your responses later. But was there anything I would love you guys to share? Like, was there anything, any idea that we presented last week for the ones that were that you haven't heard about it, that it was something completely new for you? If no, just say no so we can have an idea and we can try to create new things, right? Like, but definitely, if there was anything that was a new idea or something that you haven't uh, thought about it before, just put on the chat, right? Or was there anything that you do not agree with it, right? Sometimes one of the things that we see a lot, it's like, oh, we do not agree of sending kittens with URI to foster homes or powerful puppies to foster homes. Like, is there something that is the case for you? Or is there an opportunity, anything that you identified last week that may be something that you say, oh, I really want to implement this as soon as possible, like fostering URI kittens? Like, is there any of those things or maybe something that you guys want to do or want to share? Anything that comes to your mind? but we see a lot of, as you guys are typing, and I hope someone is, but it's definitely like one of the things that we face more, right? As new ideas, I think. And it's really like, as I mentioned already, like sending foster homes, sending sick animals to foster homes. And it's definitely like something that we do. We think that it's so, so important because as we, again, we release our staff to be doing the basic or the most basic care. And those puppies, kittens are getting full-time care in a home, right? Especially if we are sharing the right information with those potential with those fosters, definitely can be definitely very positive. And so, but that's definitely it's always something that it's a little bit contradictory, like because you have people thinking both ways. But definitely, just think about it, right? Like just challenge yourself a little bit when we are thinking about, oh, I don't like that idea. There are so many ideas that I didn't like in the past, and I now I do it, and I tell people to do it. Like a high volume spay neuter clinic, I tell everybody when I moved to the U.S., oh my God, right? I was like, what is this people doing? And my first job was as like was a technician, and then while I was working on my license in the US, and then I was the clinic manager. But initially, the first week, I thought about quitting. I thought everybody was crazy, what they are doing, they have no idea. And that was a very well functioning clinic. They were so good. And I just, but I thought that everybody was crazy. You know, after a little bit, I realized that I was the crazy one because I was like, initially against it. But it's just sometimes we have that good feeling, right? We think, oh my God, like this is crazy. But when we have that good feeling, we always need to think, why do I have that good feeling? And is it should I stick to it, or should I really understand why things are being done differently than what I'm used? And is there an opportunity here for me to learn so we can save more lives? So that is when we talk about those things, new ideas, something that you don't agree, and it's really what is the opportunity there, right? Especially when I have those gut feelings. I now, even though I have a lot of those, I'd always like, why are you having that? Right? Is there an opportunity for you to learn something new? So definitely I like that. Here we're going to talk about is just a few barriers that we see more often in the shelters because that may help you with creating your pathways as well, right? One of the things I think this is so cute, like this, it's a cute phrase, it's a cute signage, but bonded pairs, we know for sure that they delay adoptions. There are studies for them to be adopted together, it delays adoptions in at least 13 days. And we can go on and on about if there is such thing as bonded pairs in for cats and dogs, right? There is a different thing. There are several strategies that can be done to really and bonded pairs in cats and dogs. It's not a very common thing to happen. It's not part of the species. Sometimes they are really used to have other dogs than the other dog or the other cat. That's a different thing. But definitely we do encourage everybody to reconsider if you are doing that still, because it's delaying your outcomes and increasing your overpopulation. Housemaid, like introduction, meet and greets between other dogs, right? Bring your dog. We need to do a meet and greet in the shelter. When you do that, you're setting that puppy or that dog for failure because you're bringing a dog to a very stressful environment and a dog that is very stressed in that environment already. And shelter environment doesn't how they behave in the shelter doesn't represent how they behave in a home. They may get along super well in the shelter for whatever reason, and they get home, it's a nightmare because even that dog that came for meet and greet that may at home thinks he is the king, as soon as that new dog arrives there, he's not going to be happy and things may happen. So it's more important to be making sure that we are giving those adopters the information on how to introduce those dogs. It's far more successful than trying to do meet and greet in the shelter and setting them for failure. Animal testing, cat testing is completely unacceptable, right? Like walking dogs through the cat room to see. Definitely that is not recommended. That is an unacceptable practice, but definitely it doesn't represent how they behave out there. And of course, animals being visible on a website, not being visible in a website, and a website that is searchable, that it's easy to find those animals. We are working with one shelter now that we asked them, like, are your animals visible on the website? Yes, they are, which they are, it's true. But they have like a list of 600 animals, and you cannot sort those animals by species, by breed, by age. So it's very, you need to go through the whole thing. It doesn't help. So it's not only being available, but it's an easy way of finding them. Another barrier for positive outcomes here. These signages are out there, right? Like will kill animals, dog will bite. I'm not saying we need to tell them the information. We need to be share what happened and when happened. What is the situation that that dog killed another dog or a chicken or whatever? What are the situations? Share that and allow that potential adopter, if those animals are to be adopted, if you deem that they are to be adopted, share the information in a way that is not labeling an animal and then they are just in the shelter because we are labeling them in a way that we don't know for sure how it happened and why. So we need to make sure that our messaging is a messaging of sharing the reality. This animal killed a chicken in this situation. Here in the shelter, I haven't seen him kill any animal because he is isolated, so I cannot tell you if it's going to happen again or not. In the shelter, it hasn't happened. This is what happened previously. And if the person wants to adopt that animal, knowing all of that, it's the adopter option, right? But we definitely need to make sure that our signage is not preventing that conversation from even happening. Another thing, and not only allowing those conversations to happen, is allowing adopters to touch those animals. When we have kittens, we have puppies, a lot we see that very often. And it's very important to remember that adopters are not the ones making animals sick. We are making animals sick in the shelter. There are studies showing that we are the source, one of the main sources of disease transmission in the shelter, because we see too many animals, we touch too many animals in a very short period of time, in a very crowded environment. We have like 100 animals, two people to care for them. They touch 50 animals at least, plus all the other ones that are around, without protecting ourselves, right? The viral load, bacterial load that we carry in our scrubs, in our hands, are huge. In our faces, I always have like some pictures. I try to save you from that, but I think I used last week. But I always have like my like we touch them. I want to kiss everybody. I would I used to kiss everybody really until the day that I was with a chichi, a tiny creature. We love chichis, don't we? And I was like, chichi, I'm so cute. You're so cute. And then he bit my lip, and he just like he just shaked it. He had no teeth. He had no idea. Lucky me, because if he had any, I would be like totally destroyed, right? But it's really about that. We need to make sure that we are not getting covered with all of the pathogens that they are carrying and sharing around the shelter, right? The shelter environment is the worst that it can be because of stress, but because we have too many animals in a very small space. So all of the load of all of those pathogens is huge in those environments. So we are the ones transmitting. An adopter that comes in touch his dog at home that is completely healthy or has been vaccinated. There is a risk of maybe he touched a dog with parvo, but also even the viral load that he's going to have in his hand is probably not as high as yours. So let people need to touch those animals to get them to adopt them. They need to fall in love. They need to interact. So we need to let them interact with those animals to get them adopted. If they want to see a bunch of animals, maybe save the kittens for less, the puppies for less of all the animals they want to see. But do not say, no, you cannot touch them, you cannot play with them, you cannot have that interaction, because people get upset with you, but also they don't get out. And this is a very one thing that we talk about it. This is a QR code to a mini video we have on our session, on our series on YouTube, but it's just about medical and behavior holds and spay neuter requirements. I know by law you need to adopt your dogs fixed, but can you do foster to adopt? Can you do a contract? What can you do? Spay and neuter nowadays, it's been a bottleneck for almost every shelter I know. So how can we get those animals out? Do we rather get them out alive or euthanize dogs for space because you are holding all of the animals you cannot fix? Behavior medical holds are a huge problem with our pathways as well. This is Kali. This is the first dog I adopted when I was in the US. I just moved here, and she had a congenital heart disease. They allowed me to adopt her. Like they were allowing those dogs to be adopted. I knew since day one what was the issue, and they allowed me to adopt her. You're gonna care for her? Yes, I will. They didn't know anything about me at the moment, but they did. So I wouldn't have had her if that shelter had like those holds that, oh, I'm gonna hold them in the shelter or I'm gonna put them in hospice. If someone is willing to take care of a dog that has a heart disease, or is willing to take care of a dog with, or a cat with diabetes, if someone understands the issue and wants to adopt, why not? Give people the option. You may surprise yourself if you're not doing that already. And people tend to connect, right? A kid that has diabetes, and then they adopt a cat with diabetes because it helps that kid as well, or other diseases. It happens quite often, that kind of connection. So let's let people, we need to tell what we know, and we need to give people the opportunity to adopt for medical and behavior. Don't, especially behavior holds, don't try. I showed the video last week, right, of that pup that was like showing his teeth, and this is why he was on behavior hold, and he was just like smiling, and he was so cute. None of the chichi, those crazy chichis. Anyway, but right, just try to review that. If you have any problem, like you can share this video with, it's a mini video, very short, 1 or 3 minutes. You can share that with vets, with your medical team, if you are having issues with that, or just ask them to chat with us if they are having issues with some of those roads. We definitely want to talk about it because we want to decrease as much as possible. Another thing, like more messaging. This is another medical hold. Not available. Kittens with ringworm. We have 30 kittens with ringworm in the shelter that we need to to Lyme dip every other day or every 3 days. Who has time for that? But then I have a potential adopter that wants to do that. Why not? This is from our New York Center, right? Like this is a welcome to the jungle, the fungal jungle. I love it. But you do have like just our cats that have ringworm and allowing people to adopt them. And if you hear it's your ringworm kit, you can take home. It's so magical, right? And definitely look at the difference of message, right, from one to the other one. So I think that is where we're trying to connect and really let people decide our community is not bad, and we've been to many. We are our community. If we are doing the right thing, we are trying, it's not a right and wrong thing, but if we are trying to help our animals, why other people are also not trying to help, could not be trying to help just because they don't want it a shelter, they don't care. A lot of them do, and a lot of them will do all of that stinky thing and stain their everything. Just let them know what to do. Just give them the kit. Here, lime. This is a lime sulfur. It smells so good. Yeah, like and give them the whole thing, and they will do it. It's impressive. I think this is the best story we have. This is also from our New York. It's New York, right, Mel? I think it's from yeah, it's from our New York Center. Uh, FIP treatment. I think the messaging is the best, but this volunteer, right? We wish we all had him. Let's listen to him.
Friends, this is Nathan. He is a very, very friendly cat and make a great addition to your family. He has FIP. He's an FIP survivor, and he has about 1 month left to his treatment, which is one pill a day. As you can see, he loves people, and I think he'll make a great addition to any household.
All right, this is just it. So goodbye. There's nothing else to say. We won't duplicate his volunteer and send him everywhere. But that's it, right? Like, and he got adopted, I think, same day or the next day. But that's it. Like, there are ways of sending that message, and we are adopting those cats in treatment. The most important thing is to share what you're doing, why you're doing, be 100% transparent, right? And give them the option. if you like, say, hey, of course, we're not talking about an animal that is suffering, that needs, like, there are like exceptions to this, but it's an animal that is, it's being treated and there is someone out there, even if it's suffering, right? You put a post of a dog that you're trying to find a rescue and someone wants to rescue or wants to adopt that dog and is going to take to the vet right away to be treated. The dog has better chances than waiting in the back of the kennel for you to have time. It's not because you don't want to, it's just we know how hard it is for our shelters, for all of you, to really make sure that we're getting to that point. But this is it, like, there are opportunities out there. Ask a volunteer to do, like, this is a simple, very from the heart kind of video that just like that helps us so getting those animals adopted. So just think about that. No, not again, man. We like you, but we don't. Otherwise, like, I need to talk, I'm more important. Anyway, and here it's like, this is just a phrase that we think is so important, right? A proactive approach to identify an animal's most likely outcome and taking steps uh, to help them get there as efficiently as possible. And it's really like this. I think these images are say everything, right? You can be on this labyrinth, and that's where most of us are today, just waiting for things to happen, like going randomly, waiting for the exit to show your to pop up in your face, right? But sometimes, like if you are like me, I get stuck in labyrinths like all the time. I don't go in anymore because I gave up. But if you have a straight line, it cannot be a straight, right? Like you're gonna have some turn. You're gonna have like you're gonna need to adjust in between. But if you have a plan, it's much more likely that those animals are going to get out and you are like adjusting as it going. Sometimes we have dogs or cats that come in one way. Oh God, this is a highly adoptable. 2 days later something happened and that dog may not be a highly adoptable anymore and he may be a slow track, but that's fine, right? We set a path and we adjust if we need be, but as long as we're setting that path, it's more likely that we're going to keep moving forward. If we have a plan, right? If we plan what's going to happen tomorrow, that's why we have our agendas. If I don't have my agenda, I wouldn't get anywhere. And that's the same thing. If I have it scheduled, I will attend, I will be there. And that's it. Even though the meeting may not happen, but I know I need to make that happen later. So I will reschedule. Erica doesn't show up for the meeting. I will simply like, okay, let's just reschedule for 2 days, whatever, but something like that. That's how we can get, that's why pathways planning is so important. Thinking about what's going to happen next as soon as they come in, it's extremely important. In some cases, even when they are not in, right? If you are doing managing your intake and you have 2 weeks waiting time, what you can do as soon as you say, okay, let's schedule for 2 weeks, you're on the phone or the person in the shelter, hey, here you have all of this information how to rehome your pet. Also, I'm going to vaccinate your pet now because when he comes in 2 weeks, I give the second vaccine and he's protected against most of the pathogens we have in the shelter. And I'm going to also schedule the surgery for the same day so the next day he's here, he's ready to be adopted. So we can do things even before they arrive, right? So that is the goal of creating these pathways. So this is an example. Fast track, I just mentioned fast track adoption. We are talking about puppies, kittens, healthy ones, right? That is, everything is easy for them in most cases, because we need to say that it's so important. I put a disclaimer in all the slides that we are talking about pathways here, that these are examples. There are no ideal pathways. I cannot give you a formula. There is just one formula. That is the TNR1 community cat ones. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But all the other ones, there are so many variables. And the ideal pathways, they are created tailored to your shelter with your population and your resources. In LA, it's not that easy to move puppies anymore. It used to be. We were having a backlog of puppies. And I think, if I'm not wrong, I think it was, yeah, it was LA. But again, most of the places say, if I have a puppy, it doesn't last a minute, right? So kittens in some areas. So we need to know what is fast track for us. Fast track, most of the fast tracks are going to be the same everywhere. However, is it really in your area? Before setting up your pathways, you need to understand your population and how fast they get out. And then knowing if you get a 4-month-old Yorkie that is not crazy, how long is it going to take to get adopted? Even if it's crazy, it's going to get adopted in 35 minutes. So you don't need to put a lot of effort other than taking picture of intake, scheduling spay neuter, posting. As soon as you post, you have a line of people waiting to get that animal. So that person can take home, foster to adopt. Can you bring back? I have scheduled for Friday because I don't have a vet on staff, and the clinic that's Friday when they can do. Can you take there and do it? Do foster to adopt, or do even with some stray ones you can do that. But this is like with the fast tracks. That's it. You do very minimum, and they get out, right? So we need to make sure that they are ready as soon as possible so they can get out and not creating that backlog. Because what you don't want to spend time on this fast track animals. You want to spend time on the ones that are going to stay longer, that you need to do more enrichment, that you need to prevent as much as possible for them to get sick in the shelter, for them to start showing signs of clinical kennel stress. That's what you're trying to do because those are going to need, and those are, of course, most of you are thinking, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Return to home. Think about it. Can you start working with return to home before intake? Yeah, if you're animal control officers, right? Can they be scanning on field and just get a scan, microchip, find the location, or even just look around because those dogs are a block or two from home. It's just there. That's where most of them are. Sometimes it's just knocking on a few doors, and those animals are you're going to return them home right away. You don't need to bring them to the shelter and do the whole process. If there is a home out there, help them to get home right there. Even fosters, right? Fosters, finders. You can ask them, like a lot of times, just, some people will, oh, I found a dog. What do I do? Oh, come here to scan. No, go to the clinic, the vet clinic next to you. Ask them to scan for microchip. See if they can answer, see if there is a microchip. Try to find the owner around. Explain that. Don't ask them. Like people can be doing that out there. If they need to come home, they need to come home. Wait to come home. If they need to come to the shelter, they need to come to the shelter, right? No one found the owners. The finder cannot really keep. There's nothing that can do. Okay, that animal is going to come in. You're going to do that intake. You're going to make sure that the owners, if there is an owner looking for that dog, that person is going to be able to see that that dog is at the shelter, right? And there are like ways. It's not just posting on the website, right? Is there opportunity to next door, right? Next door, like having your volunteers in all the zip codes and your different next doors and asking people to post there. Because if you have been part of a next door, you know how often people are posting that they found a dog somewhere. Oh, I lost my dog. So make sure that you have those detectives, right? Like trying to return to home, helping you with that piece. So can you have that done? Is that impossible? Right? For a slow track to adoption or transfers. And the slow track, like most of the time we are talking about or animals that are sick that really need to stay in the shelter and to stabilize or something like that. Or you have like a few that maybe they really need to, or even if they are available, it's going to take longer to find that perfect match for or the match for them. But if we're talking about large, medium size, high energy dogs, we know we have most of you have almost your whole population is made of them, right? So those are the ones that we need. Look at the difference between like a list of things to do with a return to home Westie or a fast track or a medium to large size high energy dog. Those are going to take longer, right? So we need to do much more. We need to do like photo. We can do bio several times. We can update their bio. The more we know about them, the more we update bios. We do one picture and intake, but maybe a few days later, we need to do cute pictures of them wearing tutus or like whatever, like just trying something. A friend of mine in her shelter, they did a alien campaign. They used like a safe paint or like to really like they were all greens. All the dogs were turned green. It was safe for the dogs. I'm not saying that you should do exactly that as well, but they got so many dogs adopted. It was shared everywhere. It was so much fun. But they got all the dogs were green. All of them were aliens, and the posts were so much fun. That's and like she did that just for the medium to large size dogs, really get them out. So we need to be creative, but we need to be creative. We need to do something different. Like just that initial picture, in most cases for these guys, it doesn't get them out. So we need to be trying and trying, but just saying, oh, it's on the website, has a picture and a bio that doesn't represent their personality, it's hard because you're competing with so many people out there trying to get those same kind of dogs out. So we need to be making that extra effort to really get them out, right? And we can go on and on ideas, but really that's it. With these guys, we need to start with behavior modification sometime on day one. We need to start with the enrichment plan on day one. We need to prevent them from getting kind of stress, right? As much as we can. These guys are high energy. They get bored really quick. They get stressed really quick, and that shelter is so stressful. It's terrible for them. No matter how good we are, we cannot give them what a home can do for them. So it's simple like that. So we need to kind of break that boredom as much as possible to help them cope with that environment. This is what I said. For almost everybody, that's what it is. TNR cats, 3 days maximum, no matter what. Don't be mad with me when I say no matter what. There are ways of trying to schedule things, but it's really like that. Day one, they come to the shelter. These are the ones, the TNR, that are really being taken the shelter, which some do, right? Some shelters do that, and they take a picture, right? And they will schedule, they're gonna like do, their file, their animal record, the intake, they take the picture, they don't do anything else, and they move those dogs. Those cats are scheduled for surgery on the next day, and they are kept in their traps in a low stress area. They get fixed on day 2, and they are released maximum on day 3. A lot of them will be released on day 2. A lot of them, and that's fine in most cases, right? If there is no any specific thing, anything odd that happened during surgery, those cats can be released the same day of surgery, depending on what time it happened and all of that. And I know you're thinking, okay, I don't have a vet on staff. My clinic I only do on Fridays. There is nothing I can do. I need to take them. You don't need to take them. There are ways of scheduling for people to bring them in a day before the surgery or the morning of the surgery. There are ways of working with your animal control officers for that also if they need to pick up cats because it's in your ordinance. There are ways also of working. It's not about not doing at all. It's about organizing in a system that is going to work best for these cats. I was just doing a presentation like 1 hour ago, and one of the things that they were bringing up is that those cats, the feral cats, the community cats, they were getting sick in the shelter because they were waiting while they were waiting for get on surgery, and they are because they get sick because they are stressed, and most of the URI is triggered by stress. That's what reactivates herpesvirus, calicivirus. It's a stress in the shelter. And if we're keeping the feral cats, community cats that are used to roam around, are terrified of people, the real feral cats, right? They want to run away from you. So they stay the whole time there. No matter how good you play music, you cover them, you give food, you do all of that, it's not enough to help them. So they cannot. It's really it's very important to remember cats on traps, they need to be in and out maximum 3 days. And we cannot move them to cages because then the handling piece, it's even more stressful for them. So, but there are ways, schedule them to be coming at a time, a day or two prior to surgery maximum. So those are some examples, right, of designing those pathways. And for us now, it's really about like how can we create those pathways? How can you make sure that we are creating what's optimal pathways for our shelter based on our length of stay, based on our resources, what can I do? Some of you, I don't know who, I know that a few of you maybe have had time to really just list what you were doing, right? What are the resource, what are the things that I do already? Because this is the first step, right? Like I want to create pathways, but the first thing is what do you do already? What are you doing so we can at least know what's being done and see what really needs to be done, what's impactful, what's not, when it's being done, and then we organize those items. Once we organize all of that, and we are making sure that those are happening in a timely manner, we start adding things to it. And those, we're always going to be aiming to that ideal pathways that we are always going to be adopting and changing and reviewing because, oh, doing the alien campaign doesn't work anymore. Because if you do the same thing over and over again, your community stops seeing it, right? And so you need to create new things or change the way you are doing things. So as soon as you see that something that you were doing, it's not working anymore, you need to review that and you need to create something. But let's start with the first step that is really, you guys, most of you probably listed what you're doing, and now it's really how can we, what is effective, what is not, what's creating impact, what is not, and how can I organize that to identify where are the things that are the bottlenecks, like spay and neuter in most cases. Oh, the kittens fast track, they should be fixed on day 3. Let's say that's the end of a stray hold. And but they are really getting fixed just after adoption. That is a bottleneck. How can we fix that? How can we bring it back to make sure that they are getting fixed at the time that you are supposed to? And one of the things that I talk about when we are talking about fast track kittens, puppies, some states have already changed their legislation, but I would say that's nothing to do with the pathway planning, but it's something to help with your animal flow. Is that if by any chance your state is require you to do stray hold of litter of puppies or kittens, try to, if possible, get together and work on reviewing that. In South Carolina, we have changed that, and I know that other states have changed that as well. Who comes looking for a box of puppies? Hey, I lost my box of 10 puppies. No one. Just look at your data, right? You don't need to go crazy, but just look at your data. How many of the puppies and kittens that you have at your shelter have been rehomed, have been returned to home, right? Almost all of them that are coming in litters have got home, have got to a new home, not from where they come from. No one comes looking for them. So as showing the data, we were able to really get that changes in legislation where, like, look, there is no sense of be doing this stray hold, and this stray hold is just impacting the whole, like risking their lives because they are in the shelter and they are exposed to all of the diseases that they are not protected yet, but also they are backlogging and making overcrowding in our shelters. If we can get them out faster, we can care better for the animals that we need to care. So that is just kind of off sign, but it's just like really one thing that I always talk about when talking about stray holds of puppies and kittens. So anybody wants to share uh, what uh, what you created, what you have done, anything that you want to share about your pathway, if you have a pathway, if you don't have a pathway, anything that you want to share.
While others are typing as well, I'll share that I was working with one of the shelters in Virginia, and we worked through this assignment together, and some type of dog that came in that had some stranger danger. And so they're currently identifying, what steps they've been taking so far. In their pathway to getting this dog a positive outcome. And
Mm-hmm.
we were able to talk through more options for how to, optimize that moving forward. So for any new dogs that come in with similar behavior, identifying what they need and how they can get to that next step even quicker. So that's been really, really wonderful.
It
Um,
is, yeah. I
yeah.
think that is great, right? Like, was there anything specific that was being like something that they weren't doing, or something that they were doing that was being really successful?
Yeah, so something that they do that is really great is they have their adoption kennels. Most of their dogs, once they come in from intake, are still going to the adoption floor, even if they're not available at that
Yeah.
moment, right? Because of stray hold. So there still is that opportunity for that dog to get recognition. And for this dog in particular, they allowed some office time. So
Oh,
for some quiet decompression, but it's allowed them to interact more one-on-one with the staff and others coming in that the dog was able to um, sort of like work through that stranger danger.
yeah.
So recognizing, okay, that was a really great option, bringing them away from the kennel and into an office. Uh, and so that's something we could identify maybe moving forward is for some of those dogs, maybe we find a foster
Yeah.
earlier, things like that. So,
I
yeah.
love it. And I think that's it, right? Like I think it's really there, like it's listing those things and seeing. I think definitely like that time away from the kennel, that they spend like having a good time in the office. Like staff is gonna learn more about how the dog's behavior. So it's gonna help us tell more to a potential adopter. But definitely it helps that dog cope with that shelter environment that is so stressful, right? And I think that is extremely, I think it's extremely important. Like there are so many good things, like one is making available, right? People can see them if they are not available to go home right away, right? They are still hold, but you can be creating an opportunity for that dog to be adopted during a stray hold, right? Like, and as soon as the stray hold is done, really, then you can finalize that. You don't need to wait one more day, 2 more days to have that, to continue that. So that is definitely a very, very important aspect. Oh, kisses the face. I hope she doesn't have, Ariel doesn't have teeth, because if she does, Grace, no, I'm just joking with my story, my story about the Chi-Chi. I think that it's definitely it's important for us to recognize and be able to help them, like to what are the situations that they do well with and the ones that they are not, and that helps with adoptions, right? Like that is definitely, it's very, very important.
Yes, and Grace is the one from that Virginia shelter. So
Yeah.
Ariel is the doggie that I'm talking about. She's great. She's a very cute little brown pitty mix.
I love it, love
Yeah.
it.
Um,
Yeah.
Also, I thought maybe Dr. Becca, if you want to ask any like maybe direct questions and then people could react, that could be a good way for um, some people to interact as well if they don't want to enter something in chat.
Sure, yeah, definitely. Like, I think
If
that is whatever you guys make feel more comfortable, right? Like, I think that you can definitely, I think, let's say, like, yeah, I'm gonna be really offended if nobody loves my idea. So everybody loves, I don't care, like, but it's definitely, I think one of the things, like, one of the challenges, just thumbs up, right, if you agree with that. But I think that one of the challenges that we see very often when thinking about creating pathways, it's how overwhelming it can be, right? Like, are you, as we are talking through, and especially if you were here last week and this week, or even if you were here just this week, and just by talking about creating and listing, do you think that this is overwhelming for you guys? Like, just thumbs up, right? If it is, it's just the idea of we like to suggest, like, oh, just list everything you are doing without being worried about when, how, what, just because we believe that that is a way of helping decrease that overwhelm. So are you overwhelmed about thinking or considering doing pathways or creating pathways for your animals? I'm not saying anything. Maybe it's on my end.
No, I don't see anything either. But yeah, I'm sure that there are some. Oh,
Oh,
we've got one answer. There you go.
yeah. It's harder for me to change my. Oh, yes. Oh, I totally feel you, Brian. Like it's hard to change our ways, right? Like we totally. It's so. It's easy to be doing one thing. And just like the scruffing, how many times I haven't, I really like, I went, I know I cannot, but I went to scruff a cat when the cat wasn't being that easy. Oh, no, you cannot do that. It takes time to change, right? It's not easy. I think it's all about like understanding and understanding like what is the main goal, right? Why do I want to change this, or why changing this is going to have an impact, and that helps us going forward. Yeah, getting started is definitely it, because I think it's part of the same thing, right? It's part of stopping doing what you are doing or changing from there to this reality. Like it's so much comfortable to be doing things with the way our brain is already used to do it, right? So sad and just like, oh, I don't need to think about scruffing a cat. Now I need to think about how do I do a burrito, or how do I do this, or how do I do that. So definitely it takes again time. Uh, but I think that is definitely a big piece of all of this. It's really starting. Starting is, but how many of you, and now we're going to use hearts or just put on the chat, right? How many of you think that having pathways is beneficial, right? That you see the potential impact. Oh, I like the hearts. I would just save the hearts. There you go. I think that's great. I really love it, and definitely, I think that's the very important thing that we can help creating that. We are here that like the work group that we mentioned and these presentations are like to feed, to give you like that start. We do have more information about it. We were sharing, but definitely I think we do want to help you guys set this up, because we have seen more often than not, everybody who has implemented daily population rounds is coming, and pathway planning, life-saving length of stay decreases, life-saving increases, and we all feel good about it because we have more control about how things are going. So definitely attend the. Oh, thank you. I love that. I love it. And so definitely that is the thing, right? Like just not over as much as getting used for a few stuff to do it. Yeah. And let us help you guys, right? Like definitely we are here for that. This is like yet last week and this week is kind of just an overview of pathway planning. There's more and we want to help you guys doing it. So I think we are about done. Definitely we do have just remind you guys that we do have our pathway to life saving. Like just we do have what we are calling our fast track fund here of $1,000. Everybody, the shelters that complete a pathway to life saving activities that has been shared with you guys could be selected to receive $1,000 grant. So you must complete all of the activities of the workbook and submit via a link that I know that has been shared with people, but we're going to be shared again on the email later after the presentation. And just coming next is Dr. Aaron talking about the daily population rounds next week. It's going to be fun. It's always super fun. And here, additionally to everything we said, we do have our email here, sheltermedicine@bestfriends.org, or you can just follow the QR code. And on this, the QR code on the bottom, you have our medical protocols. I know that also this has been shared with you guys, so but I just wanted to put here in case you want to just go from here there. Definitely, we are here to help with pathway planning, with rounds, but also with medical protocols, anything that we can do to help you guys save more lives. We are definitely here for that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Becca.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that was wonderful. I am gonna share my screen for our last couple notes on this. So let me do that. I have a feeling there. Did that, or wait, no.
No, I can
This
see your
work?
note. Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
By the end of all of
Yeah,
this, we will know.
eventually. Um, but yes, thank you so much, Dr. Becca. We really appreciate all your expertise the last couple of weeks, and it's always a joy having you on. So I really appreciate it. And You'll get an email from us after this. Like Dr. Becca mentioned, we'll have lots of resources on that Trello board. There's a link to that. So you'll also have access to the shelter medicine email if you have any questions following this session. There will be a recording of the session linked, as well as our network partner YouTube channel. The recording will also go there as well, so you can check it out. And it'll make it nice and easy to share with your staff or outside of your organization. And then that life-saving roadmap take-home activity that Dr. Becca was mentioning, you'll complete the week 2 portion for next week's session. That is, I put that QR code up again for anyone that's interested in the working group. We did have a couple shelters that have already shown interest, and so we will be reaching out to them. So if you are also interested in working alongside us to complete that activity, you please feel free to, because like, again, Dr. Becca mentioned, there is opportunity to be selected for a $1,000 grant. So if you want to complete that activity. So we want to help you receive those kind of opportunities. So please work alongside us. We love that kind of stuff. And we won't bite. We have no teeth like that Chi-Chi Dr. Becca mentioned. Our next session will be July 30th, so Wednesday, same time, same place, and that one is going to be all around daily population rounds, and it's going to be a really great session. And if you're not a Best Friends Network partner already, please register. You'll have more opportunities for learning and grants. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you to everyone that came today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Again, thank you, Dr. Becca, for everything, and everyone have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday.